Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I'm your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Midday Market Report for Friday, February 3rd. I'm looking up at my notes here, and it says Wednesday, February 1st. That's because myself and Andrew talked for 2.5 hours behind stage, and we decided we're going to come on here for an abbreviated NHL All-Star props, pucks, you name it. Andrew in the house for a handful of minutes before his next show. And we're blessed and honored to have him here talking pucks, talking NHL All-Star, a break. Kind of the slow week in the NHL, obviously. There's no team totals or anything we can pick through. So a big weekend ahead. So without further ado, let's bring him on, the one and only Mr. Andrew McInnis.
Mr. Dawson, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing a lot better after I had that smooth sailing winner from you yesterday. It's a slow time in the sports world without me betting on NHL. So thank you for the college winner. And other than that, I'm freezing my tail off right now here in the Far East Coast, just as I'm sure you are as well. I'm checking the temperatures, stocking up on groceries, filled up my car with gas yesterday. I'm ready to stay in, have a relaxing weekend, and hopefully make some money doing it.
You know, it's funny. I sent some pictures to Dave and Matt this morning for them. It's projected tomorrow to be below zero here on the Cape. Wind chill of 30 below with gusts between 40 and 50 below. So as you just said, grocery list has checked. Banking checked. Antifreeze check.
Yeah.
So now it is get through today, somehow, some way, get up tomorrow, warm up that damn car, get to the office, get to the studio, and I'm not leaving. I don't care. I'm not leaving.
You sound like the Wolf of Wall Street there when he's like, nope, you're not taking me. I'm not leaving this place. I'm not leaving. We got to pull that up here. I really think, I don't blame you here. And you know what the good news is? We still have college basketball. We've got UFC, and today we're going to try and dip our toes in the water of some NHL All-Star stuff. I've got a future I'm looking at. I've got picks for tomorrow. We've got odds. All kinds of different books are offering this. There's no excuses for anybody that's going to tell me they can't get down on this. And everybody out there, look, this is not going to be the same unit size bets as I'm wagering on regular NHL games, but it's fun. And I do think I have some good edges here. And Jeff, as far as these competitions are concerned, look, you're getting some nice plus money on some of these. I don't have to hit every one of them. We're trying to sprinkle here, sprinkle there, and make some money.
You know, you said it best. You said it best here. And this, it's an exhibition game. It's an all-star game. It's fun. You know, our weekly, our daily 1 unit, 2%, 3%, 5%, as you do, is for one thing. This is, I like to say, pizza and beer money. Have some fun. Grab yourself a nice cold one. Get you some popcorn and get get the pom-poms. Have some.
That's what it's all about. When I was looking at these rosters here. I look at these rosters. How often are you going to get to look at Kucherov, Marner, Barkov, Suzuki, all these players play together? Let's not forget Sidney Crosby, Alexander Ovechkin. How many more years are we going to get to see this? These guys are never going to play on the exact same team. This is the chance that we get to see it. Some people don't love the 3-on-3 format, and I understand that. It is different. But when you take a look at this format, you take a look at some of these rosters, it's pretty cool to be able to take a look at, how they're structured, how they're formatted. And also, one thing that I kind of like, and I'll tell you what, flat out, an angle I look at that I think is completely the opposite of most people, Jeff. I like to bet on the teams at the All-Star game with older players, teams that have been there before, players that have been there before. I feel like the younger guys, they goof around too much. They're just looking for that Instagram reel of a highlight. You know what I mean? Like the older guys, they're there to have fun, but they also hate to lose. So it's interesting. I mean, taking a look at the Pacific Division, you've got McDavid, Draisaitl, Bo Horvat, Pedersen, Kadri, Fiala, and then the Central with Rantanen, McKinnon, Tarasenko, Robertson, Cale Makar. It's super, super exciting. And one thing that's really funny about this event this year, obviously there was a big trade that happened since the last time we spoke, and Bo Horvat heading over to New York to play with the New York Islanders, and they gave up a lot for that. I mean, as the Vancouver GM pretty much said, we pretty much got 3 first rounders, and he's kind of right. I mean, they got like at least 2, I'd say, and not actual those picks, but as far as people that represent what that means. And I'll tell you what, for the Islanders right now, I think that you wouldn't, if you have trouble sleeping, you don't need melatonin. You just want to toss on an Islanders game and you'll fall asleep in no time. Those games are boring. I mean, they're not fun to watch. And hopefully Bo Horvat can bring a little bit to that offense. But I'll tell you, they paid a lot to get him. But the funny part is he is still representing the Pacific Division, but he's going to be wearing an Islanders jersey while he does that, which I thought was pretty interesting.
I have to ask you, I'm a big Bo fan, and I don't know hockey like you do. I know numbers. I don't know the hockey like you do inside and out. A couple of years ago when the Vancouver Canucks made their playoff run, he was must-see TV. I mean, Bo knew hockey. I'm a fan of Bo. And I asked one of my locals here, why weren't the Bruins involved? Oh, defensemen, we need defensemen. But they were talking like a DeBrusque, one of their number 1 chips in the farm system, and a first-round pick. So, you know the Bruins roster, you know the makeup. Would it have been, as much as we want a defenseman, I get that. Would that have been an overkill for the Bruins to try to make a move for Bo?
From what I've read and just from what different reporters out of the Bees, it sounds like that's the case. It sounds like it would have been a little bit too much to give up for this Bruins team. And the Bruins are in a different situation. I mean, I don't want to be someone that's exaggerating. I don't want to be like a typical media talking head guy. But does the Bruins kind of give you that last dance feeling? The Bruins, to me, when I think about that Last Dance MJ documentary, I'm not comparing anybody on the Bruins to Michael Jordan. Don't even worry about that. But you've got David Krejci, Pasternak, Bergeron, who just signed a 1-year. Marchand's not getting any younger. You know, you've got Zaka, so many of these players that are playing very well that we don't know how many more years they're going to play on the exact same team anymore. I don't know if they need to mess anything up by trading away any pieces. Even if it was one player like DeBrusque and a bunch of farm, AHL guys and some picks, they're good the way they are right now. I'm sure they'll probably make a move or two at the deadline, but sometimes I feel like teams make moves when they're trying to make that big push, and sometimes it's like, hey guys, this is our group. We're going to do whatever we can with this group. But I'll tell you, Jeff, I've been very disappointed over the past 2 or 3 years with the trade deadline in the NHL. This year feels like one that I won't be disappointed in. I'm excited. I'm at the edge of my seat for this trade deadline. Once the All-Star game is over, that next focus for me will be on the NHL deadline because, you know, I've been doing a lot of research on schedules and different things like that. Once the moves are made, you're going to see me and I send you my plays all the time, targeting, not just betting on certain teams, betting against a lot of teams. Those sellers are going to be on my fade list right away, immediately for the second half of the season. So I look forward to seeing which teams trade off all their players and try and stack up those picks for the new draft.
You sounded like the locals here because they said the same thing. If it's not broken, don't fix it. We don't want to mess up the chemistry. We love what's going on here, but you nailed it. The Last Dance, I think, is a good comparison because they've been talking about the extension for Bergeron now for weeks. And
Pasta.
for pasta for weeks now, and it's going to get done. It's going to get okay, fine. And we talked about the odds on the Bruins to win the East, to win the Cup. In the last 2 weeks, has anyone seen what Carolina has done lately? Has anyone been watching that team? And there's so many landmines, I think, in the East. Listen, the President's Cup, Boston's going to win the President's Cup. I'm not trying to be the bad guy here. I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to say it. I don't see it.
You're not buying it. You're not buying it.
No, I'm not.
I'll tell you what, I regret not playing the Bruins at a different way. I played the Bruins early in the game, and it wasn't really a strong play. I got some action against the Maple Leafs, but that game against the Leafs, it's what the Bruins are all about, right? Going into a break, lost a few tough ones in a row, playing a Leafs team that's really good in their division, and they bullied them. I mean, I was saying to a friend the other day that him and I both equally have fun making fun of our Toronto Maple Leafs buddies. I'm starting to, this is so weird, Jeff. It's so out of my personality. I'm starting to actually feel bad. If the Maple Leafs lose in the first round again, something will have to change. But the Boston Bruins, they're just so built for the playoffs, the way that they're physical, the way that they have a great leadership core. And again, like one thing that's really cool about the Bruins, if you look at their schedule, number one, I believe they're top 1 or 2 in the league in third period goals. But also, like, Allmark has been great for sure, but they've won a lot of games by 1 or 2 goals. They're not one of those teams that every single time they win 6-2, and when they lose 3-2 or whatever. They're a team that finds a way. I mean, how many times did even that game against Montreal? I mean, Montreal had like half a team of AHL players that hung around for about 52 minutes of hockey, 47 minutes of hockey. Boom. The Bruins turned it on, said, we got to win this game, and they find a way. I don't like to be that handicapper that says that these teams weren't even trying. I hate when people say that on Twitter. They weren't even trying. Well, maybe they were trying, just they weren't executing as much. To me, that's the word to use, right? Executing. And the way the Bruins execute in crunch time is second to none right now. But can they sustain that? To me, the biggest question, Jeff, still remains, and I'll ask the same question, and I'll ask you the same question in probably 3 months. Can the Bruins get depth in the playoffs? Can they get guys to score that's not on that magic top 3 line or number 1 line? That's my biggest question about the Bruins.
You're spot on. And we talked about teams coming into the Garden, team totals 2.5. Everyone wants to bet the over, and the team leaves getting shut out, scoring 1 goal, or at top scoring 2 goals. That was the easiest play to start the year. The goaltending, Allmark has been just off the charts here. We talked about it last week. I think minus 150 to win the Vezina. It's going to be interesting because, again, the Lightning has put together a nice couple of weeks. The Hurricanes are putting together a nice couple of weeks. We talk about the Leafs. If they ever could get through the first round, and I was listening to Gabe and a few other people, the same thing. They're laughing. It's the same old. He goes, if you put any kind of hard-earned money on a future for the Leafs, you might as well just burn it now. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I know a Leafs fan and some people would say he's not a loyal fan, but I would say he's a smart man. He bet, no joke, this was from Bet365. He bet exact series score to be 4-3 Tampa last year. And he made like $1,000. And so he said, the best case scenario is my Maple Leafs actually win a round, or if they don't win the round, hopefully they lose in 7. And he literally made his money. It was unbelievable how this guy predicted it. But we'll see what happens. I think you said to me a few weeks ago, which I really agreed with, that the East is a lot more of a race than the West. As much as the funny thing is, though, because I want to touch on this real quick. I know we have to get to the All-Star picks, but the fact of the matter is that the ratings are down in America. Everyone's talking about that right now in the NHL world. And I think a big, big part of that, Jeff, as far as these ratings being down in America for hockey, number one, it has to be the format, right? I mean, look at this format right now. The pretty much 100%, I'll give it a 98%. I would literally bet this as a minus 400 right now. The Maple Leafs are going to meet the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round. Seriously. I mean, and we're at the All-Star game right now. So, you know, you throw around the expression 82 game preseason. It really is. It really is. Because guess what? You know, the Boston Bruins fans don't care about the first round. They want more. You know, the Maple Leafs are just itching at their to just try and secure home ice or whatever. But I mean, this is the problem, I think. And number two, I'll say really quick, is the rivalries. There's not enough rivalry stuff going on anymore. And the media doesn't promote it well enough. The marketing isn't good enough. And if they have a sponsorship with ESPN, why can't I go on their Instagram page right now and see football and basketball only? Why do they have a partnership with ESPN if they aren't promoting the product? That's my little rant for you, but I think that's a big issue as far as the NHL is concerned.
And lastly, the locals brought this up, and this is a homework assignment for you for next week when we come back here. If you watch the last 5 minutes of an NHL hockey team, a hockey game, and it's a tie score, watch that play for the last 5 minutes. And I didn't even think about this. It's basically when you get to that 5 minute mark and it's tied, they each give each other a wink, wink. We'll take the 1 point loser point and we're going to go into OT, or if not, a shootout. At least we're each going to get a point. I love the idea. 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for an overtime win, 1 point for a shutout. Make the actual first 60 minutes really something.
Couldn't agree more. And I've had somebody say to me the reason why they have to do it the way it is because there would be that much more of a difference in the standings if we didn't have some teams getting that what do you want to call it, the loser point, pretty much, the overtime loss point, right? Because a lot of teams, they have those. You look across the standings, it's like, wow, this team has like 10 points from losing in overtime. And it all adds up, right? You're right. I couldn't agree more. They give the nod. The coaches shake hands at the intermission. Yeah, we're going to lose. Okay.
You have 2 minutes, sir, to give us your NHL All-Star picks, props. What do you want to say?
Let's do it. All right. Well, I'll start things off with my overall full picture here as far as the All-Star tournament is concerned. I made my pick. The pick is in. I'm taking the Central Division to win the All-Star game, the entire thing here. I take a look at this NHL All-Star game, and I try, number one, to find players that are going to be interested, players that are going to want to win, and also teams that have a little bit of a mix of guys that have been there and guys that maybe haven't been there but are still going to have that experience under their belt. Well, the Central Division only have 2 players that haven't been to the All-Star game yet, Josh Morrissey, Jason Robertson. Robertson's having a breakout season. He has been unbelievable. If he didn't play for the Dallas Stars, he would be getting so much getting talked about a lot more. If he played for more of a marketable team, he's been unbelievable. Josh Morrissey, he literally has a nickname called Josh Norrisy right now. There's a reason why. He's playing very, very well. He's in the Norris talk. So with that division, I mean, Makar, Keller, Kaprizov, Tarasenko, Rantanen, McKinnon, and of course, Hellebuck as the goaltender. I like them to get the job done. Their first game, of course, if anybody wants to take it a little bit easier, is against the Pacific Division. They were opened up at around minus 115, 120. They're up to minus 125 now on the money line. The other game going on tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern time, Metropolitan at Atlantic. Give me over 11.5 goals. I don't see much defense going on. Good goaltenders on those teams, but lots of talent offensively. I'll take the over. I recommend people take a look at the under in the championship game. I always look towards that, or even a live bet if your book does offer a live bet there on the All-Star game, because, Jeff, as you know, same thing in the NBA. The teams actually start to care. Nobody wants to lose at anything, but they don't really care until there's like 4 or 5 minutes to go. Skills competition. Let's jump into that really quick. The hardest shot, I'm going to stay away. We've got Ovi, Pedersen, Morrissey, Seth Jones, and Rasmus Dahlin. I'll stay away. Lean towards the chalk there with Ovi. Accurate shooting, the most accurate shot. We've got McDavid, Jack Hughes, Leon Draisaitl, Kucherov. As we speak, we have seen Jack Hughes and Draisaitl flip-flop positions. You don't think people are betting on this? They definitely are. We've seen action come in on Jack Hughes. He's my guy for this tournament or for this competition. I'm taking Jack Hughes 5-1 at DraftKings to win the most accurate shot. He's a young guy. He's small, doesn't score many ugly goals. He scores top corner goals. That's what you need for this tournament and for this competition. Fastest skater, we got Dylan Larkin, broke the record last year. Cale Makar, Chandler Stevenson are both at 3-1. I'm going to rock with a defenseman here, Cale Makar. He's healthy again. He's good on the edges. He's very, very fast. Doesn't really get to showcase it as much. And at 3-1 odds, I'll take him to win the fastest skater competition at the All-Star game. I'm locked and loaded. We're going to have some fun tomorrow. Like I said, it's freezing cold here in the East Coast. These aren't big bets, but I'm definitely sprinkling and going to have a good time.
It's always a pleasure. We can't thank you enough here. Go follow him at McInnis Picks at Wager Talk at Sports Mayflower. Go over to YouTube, subscribe for Mayflower Sports YouTube. It's free. Andrew, go have some fun this weekend. I can't wait. I'm locked and loaded. We'll get you an alert out tonight and obviously for some college hoops, and we'll be locked and loaded on the pucks as well.
I'll be riding along on your college basketball. Let's cash some tickets.
Stay warm, everyone. See you soon.